today I am thrilled to welcome America's favorite hearing impaired comedian, and that is Kathy Buckley.
I'm so excited.
What do you think people can do to free themselves and live the way you're living?
No one can love me more than me. We're not on this planet to serve ourselves. If you make yourself a victim of a situation, you are just doing nothing more than hating yourself. So I tell people to love, honor, and respect themselves. So what happened? It's done. It's over with. Move on. I died that day on the beach, and I saw life after death. But when I died, there was this incredible, familiar feeling of a love that's beyond what you can feel on this earth. And the comforting of knowing that I was accepted, that love did something to me.
You are not meant to struggle. You're meant to live in the miracle zone. I'm Marci Shimoff. I'm a #1 New York Times bestselling author. I'm the founder of Your Year of Miracles. And after decades of exploring the true source of happiness and success, I have found one thing. And that is when you align with the energy of miracles, life flows with grace and joy. Welcome to Living in the Miracle Zone. And today I am thrilled to welcome America's very favorite hearing impaired comedian. She's also an actress and author and one of the most inspiring speakers I've ever gotten to hear in my whole life. And that is Kathy Buckley. Kathy, welcome, welcome.
I'm so excited.
It's always a party whenever we're together. And so I know it's going to be a great party today. Let me tell people a little bit about your background because it truly is extraordinary. I think that people might have seen you on the HBO special No Limits. I know you've also been on The Tonight Show and Good Morning America and, a million of those TV shows and national magazines, including People magazine. You performed at the Kennedy Center and Carnegie Hall, and you have a great one-woman show, Don't Buck With Me. You won the Location Award, and you also wrote a best-selling book, If You Could Hear What I See. And you are, you're just extraordinary in how you live your life. You're also the national spokesperson for the nonprofit organization No Limits for Deaf Children. And, you just, wherever you are, whether you're on TV or in a comedy club or speaking to a group, I think that your message about what can be achieved when the heart and the mind work together is extraordinary. I have seen a lot of speakers in my lifetime, and every time I have seen you, heard you speak, Kathy, you have blown me away with the depth of your learning, your lessons, your message, along with your humor and your heart. So, yay!
Thank you, Marci.
So, I want to start by sharing that you've had a lot of challenges throughout your life, and it started early on. I know that your parents and your teachers didn't actually realize that you were hearing impaired until you were 8 years old. And so they had treated you until then as though you were mentally handicapped. So maybe we could start by sharing the story of how that was for you, and then also how you've come to live such a miraculous.
I think the hard part for me was communication is the #1 key to connection.
Yeah.
You don't have language and you cannot connect. It's frustrating. And so when I was 8 years old, but I have to be honest with you, Marci, I would put this whole world in math school for the mentally challenged, because we had all different kids with disabilities in math school back then. Because in that school, there were no judgments passed. In that school, we didn't focus on what we couldn't do. We focused on what we could do. And in that school, it wasn't the value of words and communication, but what our hearts have to say. So it was a perfect place to be. And then when you start learning to hear or talk or whatever, the negativity that's out there is just incredible sometimes. But you can't let it affect you. So when they found out I was deaf, they took me out of that school and they put me in another school, and I got to be with the most incredible teacher in the world. Miss Joan Daly taught me how to talk. We haven't found the teacher to teach me how to shut up.
We don't want you to shut up, Kathy. We want you to keep talking.
Times, shit, Marci, I'm always making up for last time. But she was an angel. I mean, if you believe in angels, she was my angel here on earth. The way she looked at me, the way she makes sure I could see her lips and all of that. She was incredible. And then when they taught me how to talk, they just said, you know what? The authorities came in and gave me these hearing devices that were not made up for my hearing loss. They were painful. I didn't understand why they had to put it. If you have no language, you can't explain to a deaf child why they have to do something. You can see somebody's arms or legs are missing, but you can't see sounds missing. And so when they gave me the thing, and then they said, you know what, let's send it to public school. I had no business being in public school. But the hardest thing with not being able to hear is that, like, you or a child anybody with hearing can hear a TV, a radio, the mom talking to them all at the same time. The brain know how to do that. My brain has to stay focused on one thing at a time. And so I never got involved with music, but I do hum a lot. And I when I'm in the pool, I sing a lot to God, and even God's going, I made you deaf for a reason.
Oh.
Amazing. But I didn't do good in school. And then when I got out of school, I got a job in a warehouse, and I decided to go to the beach my day off of work, and I got run over by a lifeguard Jeep. I was laid up for 5 years, in and out of a wheelchair for 2.5 years. They said I'd never walk again. I figured I didn't hear them. I got up and I left.
Oh.
I dealt with molestation in my own home, and I've had cancer twice. Now, you can do one of two things in life. That is, you find life or you divine it. You won't do anything with it. You become a victim of other things that happen. And the cool thing about challenges, it's an opportunity for you to see your strength, to see the core of what you're really made of. And that's what I love about my life. The miracles that were coming to me left and right. And sometimes it could be a nurse or a doctor. It could be a person who opens a door for you in that moment. And it brings me joy.
So, Kathy, you have had more challenges in your life than 10 people combined. And yet you just keep on going with this attitude that it's obvious and that you just spoke of. And then there's people that have everything going for them in the world, and they're incredibly victimized, feeling victimized.
Yeah.
How is it that you stay feeling blessed? I know I've heard you say you feel blessed. How do you persist in the midst of these challenges coming your way? What is it inside you that says, I can do this?
Well, I died at the scene of the beach on the Jeep accident. I died that day on the beach, and I saw life after death, at least is what I believe. And there was something about that love. I've never felt loved. But when I died, there was this incredible, familiar feeling of a love that's beyond what you can feel on this earth. Because the love that you feel on this earth, you have expectations with it. You expect for people to behave this way, and then you set yourself up for disappointment. But the love I got that day, and the warmth and the comforting of knowing that I was accepted with all my flaws, I only had one. And then but we had all the, so there was something about that love that day. And I'm a change.
Well, let me clarify something. When you say the love, it wasn't the love of the people who were taking care of you. It was this divine love that you were experiencing.
It was a divine love. There wasn't anybody there, because it's not like you die and you go to heaven and you go, hey, God, nice robe, lose those sandals. It doesn't match. A conversation. It's what your spirit already knows. And I think the hard part with that spirit is that so many people keep looking for it, and it's there, but they look for it all in the wrong places. You know, it has to come from in here. So that love did something to me. I didn't think about it for a long time because I was too busy trying to stay alive. But that was 5 years with all the drugs and therapy and whatever I had to do. Because I had never had felt loved in my household. I never felt, it was just wasn't the way it was back then. Kids would be seen and not heard. And I just wanted to hear something. But I just wish I always ask God, I said, why can't I put this into words? You can't. I would give anything. I always tell people, why don't everybody die for 5 minutes, come back, and then we'll be okay.
You know, I've always said I would love to have had a near-death experience without having to have the near-death part of it. And because so many people report that and that it changes their life because they really have an experience. I mean, no amount of describing this can give to you what that experience you had gave to you of knowing the truth of life, of love, of what you truly are. So, what would you say to people who haven't had that experience that can help them feel that they are also in that field of love that we all are?
You're not alone.
Mm.
You're not alone.
Mhm.
But you have something far greater than what you can see in front of you. Because what you have to do is see within you. It's not over there, it's not over here. It's just like when people get excited, oh, I gotta get the latest iPhone, and they get all excited, they get it, and the excitement is gone. The excitement is a wanting of something. But once you get it, the battle or the drive for it is gone. And I think for me, I've always loved people. People were always my passion because I wanted to be one of them. And being deaf and not knowing what's going on around me. See, I was never taught about, you're going to get a period. You're going to get, this is going to happen to you when you hit 50, you're going to have menopause. None of these things were taught to me because I didn't receive the information. Everything in my life was learning on the spot when it happened. And the one thing I didn't do because I was never taught to was to ask questions. We should really ask questions. You should always try to find as much information in your life from anybody and everybody. You making a big decision, talk to somebody you trust. Don't make it all by yourself. Just have that other voice to listen to other than the 500 voices in your head.
Mhm.
And so, I don't know, Marci. I just wish I could give everybody what I have in my heart because it's like, and I think the school for retardation with all those kids with disabilities, I got to love them unconditionally, and that was a good beginning. The Jeep accident, what my dad was doing to me, those were nothing more than for God to show me the strength I have within me.
And it's quite remarkable. Maybe if you would share the experience, what happened with your father, and you had an experience of forgiving him, the unforgivable, really. And I'd love to know how that experience shifted your relationship with him and how it shifted your own life through forgiveness. So maybe you could say what happened and originally, and then
Yeah.
and then you
It shattered me. I didn't understand. This was the only person who was trying to help me by taking me to get my ears checked and taking me to doctor. He was the only person there because my mom didn't know how to drive. So when he was molesting me, I didn't understand. I didn't recognize him anymore.
And how old, do you mind me asking how old you were during when he was molesting?
My body started changing, and I didn't even know that was going to happen to me.
Mm-hmm.
Your body starts changing. He's touching you all over. He's asking you stupid things that make you go, stop it, stop moving your lips, stop looking like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't register with me. But what happens is that by the time mom comes home from work, You block it out. You don't want to remember it. You want to just shut it out. And it got to the point that every Friday night, before my mom would go to work on Saturday morning, I would dress in my clothes, I'd put my pajamas over it, and I would wash for the bathroom light. I would never sleep on Friday night. I would wash for the bathroom light. And as soon as that light went on, I hurry up, take the pajama off my clothes, and I run down and get some bread, and I go down to the woods and I would hide until the sun starts setting and I come back home. Because it was the only way I knew how to protect myself was to avoid this situation, you know. And it woke my dad up in some ways because he's like, well, where is she? What's going on? And so for years, I just blocked it out. And then when I got the cancer the second time around, the memories came back. The memory came back of what my dad did. And the memories were haunting me. And I'm like, I got to do something with this. And then I didn't want to go back for the second treatment. I didn't want to go back for the second surgery. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't care anymore. I got angry. And I got on a plane and went back to Ohio. And I confronted my dad because I thought I was going crazy thinking of this thing. Why is these pictures coming into my head? And my dad said, no, I don't. I go, Mom, my dad was telling me how proud he was of me. And I said, Dad, I don't know. I got this whole piece of puzzle with my whole life. And there's this one missing every morning, Saturday morning when Mom went to work. He goes, no, I don't remember that. Have you ever cried? And you know when you cry, you get this. I didn't do that. I went into like a shock and I ran upstairs to another house and my eyes were just pouring water out of my head. No, like, none of that. Just water. I didn't even know it was human possible that you could just pour water out of your head. And my dad came up and was on his knees. He goes, my God, what have I done to you? Don't hate all men. Just hate me. I don't really have hate in my life. And my dad was a very young looking man. And I literally watched him age 20 years right there. And for 4 or 5 minutes, I was comforting him. I didn't ask any more questions. I didn't take care of Kathy. I took care of him. And I went back to California, went on with my life. And then a few years go by, my stepsister calls me. And I got the same kind of story from her. I said, that's it. I'm flying home. I'm going to take care of, we got to talk to Dad together. And she didn't want nothing to do with it. And I kept asking. He kept asking me, what do you want from me? What do you want from me? I go, I don't know. Maybe I just want you to be happy. If you're happy, I can learn how to be happy. I just want to be happy. And I really thought that if my dad was happy or my mom, I could learn how to be happy. I thought they were my role models for me to learn from. And when I left, I was in the car driving and I kept hearing, what do you want from him? What do you want from him? Well, there's really nothing he can do. It's done and over with. So I got on with my life. About a few more years went by, I get a phone call. And at this time, I was starting my career. I was watching myself on TV, which is really weird, lip reading yourself. And so I picked up the phone. I'm like, hi. And I go, oh, hi, Dad. With Kathy, I'm in an institution. I have to call everybody and ask for forgiveness. My dad was an alcoholic. Now, I thought I was over it. I really did. We take things that bothers us and put it up on a shelf. And every once in a while, we take that box down and we look at it and, it's like the box of Pandora crap comes out, right? When he asked for forgiveness, something I didn't even know what it was was like a little alien in the pit of my stomach just came up and out of me and just screamed out, no! And it scared the hell out of me. And I told my dad I will go, come back to Cleveland. But when I get there, you don't look at me, you don't touch me, you don't nothing with me. Don't hug me, nothing. And that was the first time I took care of Kathy.
Oh, my goodness.
And when I got there, you see, when I died, I got a gift that not many people would ever give me growing up. And that was the gift of choice. I didn't know the power of choice. I realized that everyone should give their kids that gift. so they can learn who they are. Don't live their life. Show them how to live for themselves by making choices. Because the great thing about choice is unlimited. If you make a bad choice, you can rectify it. So I went to the place to see my dad, and I started yelling at him. I just went right in there. What the hell were you thinking? Who the hell do you think you are touching me? And I remember the day I died on the beach, that gift. And I said, Dad, stand up. I'm going to give you a hug. And when I hug you from here on out, we no longer have this story. Because that's what it ends up being, if you really think about it. Yes, it affects you physically. Yes, the memories stay in your muscles. But I really did. I said, I hugged him, and I said, now, if you want a relationship on my terms, you may hug me back. And he did, and we had a beautiful relationship for 30 years.
Wow.
And I slept in the same bed with him for 2 nights in a row, or was it 3? And I slept in the same bed with him because he ended up with dementia. And when he took his last breath, because no matter what, he's still a child of God. I can't condone the past. The past is where it is, the past. But when he died and took his last breath, I looked up to the heavens and I said, thank you, God. And I wasn't thanking him for my dad dying. I didn't know that my loving him unconditionally, confronting him to give him back the box that I kept on my shelf, I didn't know I was making myself happy. I was setting myself free from a story that I could repeat until I'm in doomsday. But I didn't have to, and when I speak it now, it doesn't affect me like it would have in the past, because it's my story, and now it's your story with the hope that you will grow and learn from it. So happiness is setting yourself free, and it's not about forgiving this person, it's about forgiving the situation or the circumstance that took place. We have a tendency to want to blame a human being. And that's that's me.
So, Kathy, it's remarkable. You know, most people don't have the ability to forgive even small things, let alone something like what you just experienced. And so many people either get stuck in their anger or get stuck in hopelessness or some form of bitterness. So I'd love to know from you, in addition to forgiveness, what else do you think people can do to free themselves and live the way you're living, which is free?
I have a picture of myself when I was a little girl. And here it is. This is me when I was little.
Oh, what a little cutie patootie you are.
I'm a patootie?
Yep, you're a cutie patootie, not any other kind.
And I kept the picture with me for a long time, and I said, I would take care of you, because no one else took the time to love me. And I said, and I will love you. But there will be a day that you no longer live with me, because I am going to be a new person. And I told myself, no one can love me more than me. You know, no one's going to be able to respect me more than me. So you do respectful things. We're not on this planet to serve ourselves. If you make yourself a victim of a situation, you are just doing nothing more than hating yourself. You're doing nothing more than looking for attention in the wrong places. You have disrespected your feelings. What you tell your brain and what your brain tells you can be 2 different stories, but you affect yourself emotionally by what you tell yourself. So I tell people to love, honor, and respect themselves, because you are the teacher as to how you want people to treat you. And I guarantee you, when you act like a victim all the time, you're not getting the right reaction, and you will lose people in your life because they don't want to hear this story over and over again. So what happened? It's done. It's over with. Move on. There is so much greatness in this world that we can reach out to. I'm a crazy person. I go crazy for the hummingbirds. I love the lizards. I just, the littlest things. I come home from the road and there's flowers in my backyard and I'm like, oh yeah, thank you. I appreciate. Gratitude will change the way you look at life and yourself. And I started doing that. I just started saying, thank you for everything. Even when I leave a hotel room, I thank the room. I have a safe place to lay my head. Start saying thank you for everything. Even a good bowel movement, man, that's like a big thank you. But no, it's being grateful.
Grateful. I live on the same page. Gratitude is it. Radical gratitude for everything that comes your way, because it's all, it's the question of, is life for me? It's the idea that life, everything is for me. It's in my favor. And I'm curious about, because you're a fantastic comedian. You've made me laugh. You make me cry sometimes in the same moment. How did you develop your love of humor and laughter?
Well, the humor came from the stupidity of society, for misjudging me, for, it just comes from life. The great thing about my career is because I was the first hearing impaired comedian, I became an advocate for people with disabilities. I don't see disabilities. I see spirit in people. And if we could get past our judgment of what the package that the spirit is holding, instead of just getting in there and embracing the beauty of what's really in the body, because we all have a tendency to automatically judge, just nature. But be aware of it, because nobody has the right to put limitations on another human being, least of all yourself. And we put lots of limitations on ourselves. Like God knows I did. And I still do from time to time, I'm like, old habits are hard to break. Yeah, I think people should be grateful. There's so many people who have way less than I do. And I don't have a whole lot. But I don't need materialistic things. I realize that when I die, I'm not taking this stuff with me. The only thing I want to do is I want people to feel what I feel. I want them to have that happiness for no particular reason. Just wake up happy. And I'm singing. This is why I have to live alone, because they shouldn't let deaf people sing. I'm always singing good morning songs and celebrating the day before it even gets started.
Kathy, there is so much light in your spirit. So much. Just every time I've been in your presence, I feel uplifted. I feel inspired. It's quite remarkable. And so I think the last thing I want to ask you is, have you come to have a sense of, why have you had all these challenges? Can you honestly feel like there is a purpose in this, or there is a gift in this? How have you come to experience all of that?
I think I was asleep. And I kept having things happen to me to try to wake me up. I think I was stuck. I was in a blackness, a hole. I didn't want to be here, because I just didn't fit in this world. And then I realized, who does want to? Who wants to fit in this world? You create your own world. People are going to judge. People are going to label. Some people are going to put limitations on me. Even the industry, they don't bring me in for acting roles because it's signing only. They think deaf is signing. Well, they're deaf voice now, but they don't think of that. So I will continue to educate so that the kids that are coming up behind me will have the opportunity. How do you say thank you to the divine for loving me? How do you say, there's not enough thank you? There's just not enough thank you for loving me beyond my imagination, for loving me unconditionally, for giving me a voice so that I can talk to help other people. How do you say thank you? How do you say thank you? You don't. So what you do is you keep giving back. You keep giving back. I don't need a whole lot. but I do need to know that I'm a service to others. And I love helping other people, and I love taking care of people. And I just feel extremely blessed that I have the patience and the love to do it, because when you're helping somebody else, you're blessing, you will start liking yourself. If you're depressed and you don't want to be here, then it's time to find some place to volunteer. Make yourself part of a community that's giving back. Make yourself worthy of being able to give. And it will fill your spirit beyond your imagination.
Well, Kathy, I think everywhere you go, you give just by your energy, your spirit, your words, your enthusiasm. I know you travel all over. You travel all over, still just giving keynote speeches. Um, what's 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 the thing that you're most excited about moving forward? Is there something that you are just lit up about?
No, because I live in the moment.
Mm,
I live in the moment. I don't want to miss my moments. See, I
mhm.
need to plan a lot of things. And while you're busy planning, I miss opportunities because
Yeah.
hold on, I gotta go look over here. And the very thing I'm looking for is right here, but I avoid it. So I just try to stay in the moment and see what comes my way. I don't plan much of anything. And it's amazing the things that come my way. I'm not asking for anything big. Maybe $1 million would help so I can retire, but that's beside the point. No, and I don't think I'm ever going to retire because it brings me joy to be. I have 18 kids in my neighborhood that call me a Kathy.
Oh,
And that I set up my whole garage as a craft shop for these kids.
oh,
And not allowed to have any electronics here. And that so they can only come and be creative and be magical within themselves. And I would hug on them and I would bake cookies. So I get to create my community, and then the parents can go do what they need to do for those next 3-4 hours or whatever it is. Because there's nothing better than to create memories for kids.
mm,
And nothing better than to make them feel worthy and see their self-worth so they can grow with confidence. And that's important.
yes,
I didn't get that. And so, of course, I want to give that to the kids.
yes. Well, Kathy, I have to say, you are the epitome of what I call happy for no reason. The real deal. That inner state, you've got it. You live in what I call the miracle zone because you're in the flow. I mean, just your answer to the question of what are you excited about? I'm excited about this moment. I'm living here in the moment. I'm not planning the future. And that's what we feel in your presence. So I just want to thank you so much for talking with all of us today, for being so open, vulnerable, authentic, true, real, and having, I would say, walked through those big sort of portals or lessons in life to really know the truth that we are all love.
Yes,
So we are all love. So people can find out more about you and your work very simply by visiting kathybuckley.com. And if I have to say, if you ever need to have somebody come speak to your group, if you are looking to hire a speaker, there is just, Kathy, you are unparalleled in your ability to help us laugh, to cry, to be moved, and to know what really matters in life. So I thank you so much for being here with us. And I'm going to end with a quote from you, Kathy.
Oh God! Now what did I say?
Yeah, here's one of the many things you said. There's only one power that no one can take from you. One, that's the power to forgive. And you use that power to love, honor, and respect yourself. And that is what you have done. So thank you for showing us the way with that. And I want to thank everybody here today for joining us, for listening to this, for being drawn to this conversation. It wasn't an accident. If you're here, there was something in you that's ready to hear this to live more in the miracle zone, to forgive more fully. I hope that you're feeling uplifted and inspired and more aligned with the energy of miracles. And if this episode touched you, and I can't imagine it didn't touch you, because if it, I had just, Kathy's just touching to the core. So please just share it with someone you love. That's a way you can give a gift. And also please remember that you can download your free gift from us, which is our ebook, Manifest a Life of Miracles, 4 Steps to Living in the Miracle Zone. You can get that at themiraclezonebook.com. And let's all remember that miracles aren't reserved for the lucky few. They are meant for you. They are meant for you. So I am sending you so much love until next time.